To start us off, there's a lot of thank yous we have to do and a lot of ceremony that's going to be important today. But to start us off, we have the NJROTC from Murrieta MESA High School is going to present the colors for us. They're led by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Jackson, USMC retired. Colonel.
Please place your hands over your hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance. Cadets, Hudson, who? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Left, ready, cut, left, face, forward, march.
Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning. My name is Dusty Williams, and I'm the Chief Engineer of the Riverside County Flood Control District, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh no, that's Thursday nights. I feel like an alcoholic. I've been doing this for most of my adult life. 11 years, 1 month, and 3 days ago, most of us, I was going to say many, but most of us were here in this, well, it's been refurbished, but this same building, celebrating the beginning of Murrieta Creek. We're here today to celebrate the continuation. We all thought we'd meet a lot sooner than this to continue, but the fact of the matter is we are here today, and it's through the hard work and a lot of effort by, well, I'd name everybody in the room, but just look at the RSVP list. The reason you're here is because you all had something significant to do with this project being where it is today and moving ahead. A lot of dignitaries in the room, and I'd really like to turn the mic over to them and have them tell you about their particular part of this creek. You have your program in front of you. I can tell you that as we go through this, a lot of these people were here before. Some of them have changed roles. Over the last decade or so, a lot of things have occurred. One thing that has not occurred is we haven't had another major flood on Murrieta Creek. It is the locals, and when I say that, I mean the Board of Supervisors, the city councils of both Temecula and Murrieta, who really believe we're on borrowed time and have really pushed hard over the last couple of years to get this project moving forward, and that's the reason we're here today. One thing that has changed over the years is, well, I was going to say my boss, but he's not anymore. But if you look at the original groundbreaking photos, there was a gentleman named Jeff Stone who was a city councilman here at the groundbreaking. He spent the ensuing decade as my boss on the Board of Supervisors, and he quit that on November 30th. He is now State Senator Jeff Stone. Mr. Stone.
Thank you, Dusty. Those meetings are on Tuesday night at Temecula Valley High School, by the way. I'm sorry I was late last week. Well, first of all, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, and hopefully a healthy, Happy New Year to all of you here today. And it's an interesting feeling being up here today, being probably one of maybe 2 or 3 of us that lived through the horrific disaster in 1993 when we had the banks of Temecula Creek overflow and our beautiful Old Town area was underwater and under mud. And it was then that we recognized how important it was that we maintained a significant reserve in our bank accounts as a new city, where we took $1.5 million and spent it in one weekend unearthing Old Town. And so it has been, I will say, a long, comprehensive challenge over the past 22 years to get to this point where we are going to begin phase 2 of this very important project. and for especially the residents of this area. Our residents pay property taxes that go into the flood control account to mitigate potential damage from a 100-year storm or even something less than that. And I also, as a property owner along the creek in Murrieta, own a building that, by the way, I just got my annual bill from FEMA. I pay $1,000 a year to make sure that I have flood insurance because Murrieta Creek is unstable. I look forward to the day when these improvements come to fruition and I don't have to pay that $1,000 premium anymore. But with that said, I remember the contentious hearings after the flooding disaster. I remember meeting in Murrieta, and it was very contentious. I think Congressman Ken Calvert will remember chairs flying throughout the room by some of the reactive and rightfully so angry business owners. I remember representatives from Hudson Oxygen that used to have their business right here that sustained significant damage. And we've been working with Congressman Ken Calvert and former Congresswoman Mary Bono and now Congressman Duncan Hunter and my colleagues on the Murrieta City Council, past and present, and colleagues on Temecula City Council, past and present, in working with various changing faces at the Army Corps of Engineers. And most recently, we met to get this new phase going by basically advancing our citizens' money, if you will, before we can get more federal funding to really complete this project. But I want to thank Brigadier General Mark Toy. Is General Toy here today? Yes, sir. There he is. It was good to see you again, sir. And you remember the spirited conversations that we had a few years ago, and you made a commitment to me that you were going to make sure that we did everything we could to divert money from other areas that may not have needed the money at the time to help jumpstart this project and to see this project to fruition. And I feel very confident in your present position that you're not going to forget out Murrieta Creek, and that over the next few years that you'll help us secure the funding necessary to complete this project. But basically in 2000 we had an environmental impact report that was approved. This was in response to the catastrophic flood in 1993, where the Army Corps of Engineers initiated a study on the 7.5-mile section of the creek. And then in 2003, Congress appropriated the initial $1 million for phase 1 construction. In 2005, phase 1 initial construction was completed. But major flood events caused damage to that new construction that needed to be fixed. And in 2007, phase 1 damage construction was completed. And so the appropriations to date total $17 million of the $117 million total cost for the improvements. And between 2014 and 2025, the projected completion of the 4-year project is going to come to a close. We hope sooner rather than later. And of course, the improvement of the creek is going to allow for expanded economic development opportunities along the creek, as well as recreational opportunities with more sports fields and trails as a part of the 30-year master trails plan, and increased habitat and open space for tourism and quality life for our residents. But the bottom line is that this is a public safety issue, and that we have people that live along this important conveyance of water, and it's very important for the quality of life and perseverance of economic development, that we all work collectively together, cities, counties, states, and state and federal government, and the Army Corps, Flood Control Special District of the county, to make sure that this project remains on the radar, and we continue to fight every year in the federal budget to secure money to make sure that we can advance this project in the best interest of the health and safety of our residents. So thank you very much for your continued fight, and I will continue to join you, even as a state senator, in making sure that these improvements move along swiftly. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you, sir. Even as a state senator, we're looking to include Sacramento in that formula now, sir. That's why we elected you, right? Been joint projects have been something that has not been done by any one group or any one person. And the two very big players in this are the two cities. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Washington, there you are, from the city of Temecula, our host city. And thank you for hosting us today, sir.
Thank you, Dusty. Of course, we had the improvements done just for this event today. Hopefully we'll have many more wonderful meetings and gatherings here. I'm invited to speak today, and I won't be long at the podium because we have a lot of speakers, but I make up one half of a subcommittee for the city of Temecula, along with Mike Nagar, and I want to also acknowledge that our mayor, Mary Ann Edwards, is here today from the city council. Sometimes it takes a real personal connection to something to really feel the impact of it. Now, hopefully, as electeds, it doesn't take that we have to walk a mile in a person's shoes to understand their pain. But I know the pain of this event, the event that this is connected to, because I had a 10-year-old daughter who was doing gymnastics at a little location right off of Diaz in 1993. And I drove in to try to recover her while the rain was coming down and the water was up to almost to the door of my car. And I was very concerned for her safety, fearful that I would not be able to get in there and get us out safely. She's now a 31-year-old resident here in Temecula, so all worked out well. But 2 years later, I was elected to the Murrieta City Council and served on a subcommittee to begin the effort to create a project that could eliminate that kind of danger from ever revisiting this region. Subsequent to that, I moved to Temecula, and now I serve on our subcommittee that works with Murrieta, works with the county, and I'm so excited because this is the best gathering I think I have witnessed since 1995, where people have come together to work on this project, to see it move forward. We have congressmen here. Thank you, Congressman Hunter. Thank you, Congressman Calvert, for being here. And I know that Murrieta's mayor will come and speak and acknowledge their representatives. And thank you, Senator Stone, for all of the work you've done on the Temecula City Council, then at the supervisor level, because really it was you that kickstarted what we're about to do here now with the commitment of those Riverside County Flood Control Funds, as well as a partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers. So I'm grateful that we've finally gotten some momentum going, that we have such powerful dignitaries here today to help us kick this off, and hopefully we won't have to wait another 10 or 11 years to see some progress. Thank you.
There's no mic stand, so we have to hand it off. Without further ado, okay, I'll tell a story. Mike Nagar is next up, and the only thing I'll tell you about Mike, I thought the slides were going to be back there of the groundbreaking 11 years ago, but one of the gentlemen in that picture was Mr. Nagar too. So Mike, you've been with it a long time. I'd like to invite you to the podium.
The mic's not
Watch that switch, it turns it off.
Thank you. What Dusty didn't say is he's been going around the county at all of these functions and events, showing this photo when we did the last groundbreaking, saying, gee, Mike, you're 25 pounds lighter. Okay, but I'm working on it, okay? Thank you, Dusty. You know, again, there's a lot of people who are going to speak. I'll tell you all the thanks. Thank you to everybody. We can go around this room. Everybody has played a big part, going back a long way. I remember when those floods happened, the city of Temecula decided that even while it's working on the creek, we had to generate some funds and make sure that there was a safe way out of the Old Town area. You'll look over here and you'll see this First Street Bridge. I believe that was an $8 million affair that we did to go ahead and cross the Murrieta Creek to make sure that in the event of another 100-year flood, we can get people out of there safely at least. The city of Temecula has grand plans. I always like working with my colleague Chuck Washington because he never fails to acknowledge the teamwork and the team concept that we have here in Temecula. We're thinking big. We're looking toward phase 3. We're working with the National Forest Service and trying to get a trail down Murrieta Creek from here all the way to Lake Elsinore. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that as an economic development tool, as a recreational tool, as a healthy living tool. And this groundbreaking today is just the next step in that effort. So I want to thank everybody. God bless you all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mike. And furthering the partnership and cooperation here, I'd like to introduce Mayor Ramos from Murrieta. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I'm going to try to have an even shorter speech so you guys can get to work. I guess I should start from the very beginning. I've been on the council now a little over 2 years, and the first time I heard about the creek was on the campaign trail. And they said, what are you going to do about Murrieta's creek that is due to overflood? And that was peculiar. I'm thinking, we're in a drought. What are they talking about? At any rate, I had no answer for it. And then talking with staff, and I believe Councilmember Gibbs actually talked to me about his involvement in it. And I was thinking, golly, I get to work with the Army. This is so cool. I just retired from the Marine Corps. I worked with them in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is going to be easy. Well, 2 years later, here we are. So I do want to say thank you to all of the council members that came before me. So special thank you to Councilmember Gibbs, Councilmember Randy Lane, who worked on this prior to. I want to thank Councilmember Jonathan Ingram for being here and supporting. I want to thank the Senator for coming down here, Congressman Hunter, and everyone else who came down to support this endeavor. And a big thank you to our partners to the south, Temecula and all their staff. I also want to thank all of our staff. I tell you, one of the coolest things coming in as a closer and getting an opportunity to vote on something that was such forward thinking and figuring out ways to come up with the funds. So thank you to everyone who put a part in this. Merry Christmas.
It's been a partnership, and it's been one that's really remarkable because a lot of cities compete, and I'm sure these two cities do compete on a lot of bases, but when it's come to this creek, that's never been the problem. These cities have, from the beginning, worked together because it is necessary for both cities. One person that has been overarching in all this to really bring all the region together and bring our message to Washington is Ken Calvert. And before he comes up, I just want you to know that Ken Calvert represents this area. But Ken Calvert was here when he didn't represent this area, and then he was here when he did represent this area way back. The man, because of changing boundaries, has been the representative for the Murrieta Creek area and not. He has never backed off on his support of this project. Even when his district didn't encompass Murrieta Creek, he was a champion for this project. And we owe him very much the accolades of why we're here today. So, Congressman?
Thank you, Dusty, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody here. It's great to be here. I was here, back in 1993 when this town was underwater, and of course I was here in that photo when we did the groundbreaking a number of years later. I know it's frustrating working with the federal government, all those that are here that has had the experience dealing with them, and I know that the Colonel, General, you share in those frustrations, but we have to deal with that. We have to move this project ahead. I thank Riverside County for front-loading this project. Jeff put a lot of time and effort into this. The entire Board of Supervisors, Marion, the entire board worked hard. The City of Temecula, the City of Murrieta, the entire region to keep this thing on track. We're going to get this phase 2 done, but as was mentioned, phase 3 needs to be completed. We need to do a new economic study of this region. Property values have obviously escalated since the original project scope was put together. And so we need to look at that again, get phase 3 funded, and pay back obviously the county for this project. And I look forward to dealing with both the state, the feds, and everybody else to get this thing done. It's a great project. It's great for economic development, put a lot of people to work. And that's really what it's all about, and protect the region. With that, God bless. Have a great holiday.
We should be coming up from that side. You won't have so much chance of tripping on the cord. New player to the equation, but nonetheless a friend for this area, is Congressman Hunter. He has worked tirelessly through his office to bring this project to fruition, and working with Mr. Calvert's office, and really our whole Southland delegation is what has made this project come to be. So, Congressman Hunter?
Thanks, Dusty. See, he has no stories about me because I'm new.
That's not a bad thing. Well, let me tell you, in 1993, I was a junior in high school. I've represented this area for about 2 years is all. And what we've done is we've tried to do as much as we can to bring everybody together whenever possible to talk about this. But in reality, I've done nothing. We have done almost nothing on the federal level in actual specific legislation to further this. This is all a pull yourselves up by your bootstraps kind of deal. This is all local. This is all local. We're here, me and Ken, because we're trying to work this. And it's really hard. You've heard of those things called continuing resolutions, right? That's what the federal government's been running on pretty much since I've been in Congress until just now. The way that we get things done is we have specific projects listed in federal legislation. That hasn't happened for a long time. We're going to get back to regular order, and it's going to happen now. You know, Ken's on appropriations, on the Transportation Committee, and hopefully we can get those two things together, get the Army Corps together. They're going to fix this up so it rolls right through. And we're going to try to bring funding here. And that's what we're here to do. Merry Christmas. Congratulations on doing this with absolutely no federal help whatsoever. And I hope when it's done, you still don't have any stories about me.
That's amazing. I was a junior in high school too when this project started. Two more players that have meant a lot to this project. And one thing you're going to see, this isn't a partisan project at all, but our two senators, Senator Boxer and Senator Feinstein, have meant a lot to the project. I don't believe either lady, I didn't see them come in, I didn't see a big entourage. I don't know if there's anyone here from their offices, but make no doubt, they may not have made to this meeting, but they certainly have been part of this. We have enjoyed lots of local representation, lots of support in Washington. It's all the other people in Washington that have been against us, but with the people you've heard talk, I have faith that we're going to get somewhere with this. The man that really did kind of bring it together for us, at least he's the latest one, very good friend of mine. He started out, well, I started out knowing General Toy when he was Colonel Toy, and I'm sorry, I still call him Colonel Toy, so if I make a mistake today, I apologize for that. But Mark has been somebody that started with the Corps of Engineers, LA District, a number of years ago, and he did make that commitment to Supervisor Stone that the project would be pushed, it would get all the attention of the LA District, and true to his word, it has done that. The very good news is when he got replaced, we had somebody just as committed, Colonel Colleton, and she has been behind this project ever since. The better news, or more good news, is that Colonel Toy went to Washington, didn't like it, so they shipped him back to the West Coast and made him a general in charge of the whole West Coast Corps process. So we do have people that are good friends of this project, and they're in high places. So the highest general I know, Mr. Toy.
I really appreciate it. And Dusty, I don't know what you were doing today when you brought in the naval color guard, because it was a real rough weekend for us this weekend with the Army-Navy game, and then Mayor, Marines, and Congressman Hunter, Marines, and 13 years of futility, but I always have hope, and there's always next year. So I'm really happy to be here, ladies and gentlemen, to restart really an important project and get this phase 2 started. Many of you know I've had the experience as a LA District Commander from 2010 to 2013, and we have a lot of great projects that we're trying to push through. The challenge with these projects is the funding, especially during this resource-constrained time. But what we're looking for are those projects that have multi-benefits, multi-purpose, and when you look at this Murrieta Creek projects, that's what you get. It's more than just flood control or flood risk management. You include ecosystem restoration and the enhanced recreation that this project will give, and it's really one of those signature projects that we want to be able to support. As was stated before, it was stalled for several reasons, and we're working through all that. And I regret I couldn't get it done during my time as a district commander, but hopefully we can get it done now as a division commander. I remember going into Supervisor Stone's office at that time, Supervisor Stone, and I went to your pharmacy, sir, if you remember, and brought the team there, and you've been so patient throughout this process, and we pitched to you our ideas for kind of moving this forward, and you were very helpful in showing us the way, and I'm really glad that we're actually at the point where we are now. But it is due to an incredible team. If you look at what Kim has done as a district commander, her motto for her own district is building strong together. the together being the operative word. You need an incredible team of people to actually make this work. And I'm real happy that in LA District we have Paul Underwood, and because he's the one that has been dealing with this project day in, day out, the nuts and bolts. And Paul, your great attitude, I think, is the reason why this project is doing so well and is where it's at. The other person that really deserves a lot of credit is Dusty, my friend Dusty, that I met, I remember, at Coronado Beach, right? When you were introducing me to, it was a NAFSA, it was legal and everything, everybody. But I've always enjoyed working with you, and you even came to visit me in Washington, D.C. when I was there for a year, and we were talking about this project and how we can move it forward. So Congressman Calvert, I've always enjoyed working with you, sir. You not only with this project, but the Santa Ana River Main Stem. You're always a great friend of the Corps, and I appreciate all the time. I again was with you, sir, when we were talking about Murrieta, and you were there in Washington, D.C., and you were the only time that I think you brought everyone together there right in D.C. and had a meeting there for a long period of time so we could actually talk through how we were going to get through this. And I also want to acknowledge Congressman Hunter. Always love working with you, sir. Seeing you there in D.C., working out, one of the most fit guys in D.C. that I see all the time that I'm there. So building strong together, and then in our division, what the model that we use is building strong and taking care of people, because everything that we do in the Corps, whether it's designing, whether it's constructing, has at its heart the idea that we're taking care of people. And so I will do everything in my power now as the division commander to make sure that we can keep this a priority. It's a priority project now for the division. I can say that. I remember being a district commander and trying to get that to be a priority on the division staff. Well, it's a priority now because I'm there. So I hope the next time that we all can meet here is during a ribbon cutting ceremony, Dusty, and for all the different phases that we have. So thank you very much for being here, for inviting the Corps, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Army strong.
Okay, the part you all been waiting for, the cookies. Well, let's face it, you came here to listen to speeches? Come on. A few thank yous do have to go out. I'd like to thank everybody in this room. Everyone here has been invited because they played a big role in getting to us to where we are. A lot of flood control staff, a lot of city staff, both cities. It's been remarkable what a team effort this has been to get here. Specifically, I'd like to call out Mr. Martinez, Albert, and my staff. He's been our project coordinator, and Albert, working with Becky and really a host of other people, both cities and in my office, have put this event together. And the cookies are the remarkable part. You've all been given a medallion. Represents this. It's an indelible reminder that we were here today and we began something. The design on the back is just a quick sketch of the creek. That same sketch is on those cookies. Those aren't indelible. So enjoy those. Remember what they represent. Put this on your desk and remember that we still have a long road to go. We aren't done until we're finished with phase 4. This is only phase 2 that we're going to get going on, but phase 4 is where we're really heading. And hopefully we don't have to have a ribbon cutting at the end of each phase because it's just going to be continuous. Right? All right. You heard it, they committed, right? Thank you all for attending. We are going to, there's some refreshments and there are cookies back there, but the highlight, of course, is having their dignitaries hold gold shovels and throw dirt at each other outside. So if you'll indulge with us while we get a photographer out there and capture that event, then please talk to the people that are here. Find out what everyone had to do with this project and commit to each other that we will continue with this.
Good. Okay, stay right there. Let's get a couple more.
All right.
Now throw your dirt. One, 2, 3, go!
Nice.